Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the P-LotPodcast. John here, joined once again by the main man himself. Michael, how we feeling?
Any day after a Joel Embiid masterclass is always a good day, I have to say. Um, Last night, we're not going to talk much Sixers today, but I do want to give a little shout out because when the spirits are down in this city, who more reliable than the Philadelphia 76ers? Am I right? Not kidding, but it was very nice to see that in a game without Tyrese Maxey, the first one he's missed all year, by the way, um, they were able to turn up the heat, and Joel Embiid was able to kind of turn on his aggression. Kind of not something you've seen all year. He's had a couple flurries of mid to upper 20-point games in his minutes restrictions or whatever, but this was about as normal as he's looked, not just, physically. The one game where he shot really poorly a few last week was he looked good against the Lakers, but he just couldn't hit a shot to save his life. This game, he goes 32 minutes, 39 points, 9 rebounds, 12 of 23 from the field. He's been struggling from 3, which is rare. We really got used to him knocking down threes at a high clip, but 13 of 18 from the line, also uncharacteristic for him to miss 5 free throws, but still dominant. Um, really led the team in a game without Maxey. He hit that dagger fadeaway jumper that kind of ended the game after an and one that really tied it away. So it's nice to see that the guy that pretty much everyone wants dead on the side of the street still has it in him to put together a vintage performance like this. Obviously, he's not going to do this every night. Like this was a nightly thing just a couple years ago, and he would do it while sitting the fourth quarter as well. But it's nice to know that on days where Maxey isn't playing or whatever, he needs to step up. He's still got it in him to do it. And also shout out Paul George had 23 points, which he took over during parts of that game as well, which is also very encouraging to see that without Maxey, he was able to step up and do well. Edgecombe had 22 after a monster first quarter. Everyone pretty much played well. It wasn't the best McCain day. Didn't play a lot of minutes. I'd still like to see his minutes tick up without Maxey, but Embiid was awesome, and that's really fun. But that's it in terms of Sixers stuff. There is one thing we did want to talk about before we got into football. Big trade, blockbuster trade that took place in the National Hockey League. Hold on one second. Quinn Hughes. Quinn Hughes, the superstar defenseman of the Vancouver Canucks, brothers to Jack and Luke Hughes. So there were obviously a lot of
Cornerstone of
linkings to
Team
the
USA Olympics
Devils.
in 3 months, and I don't know if they even have the rink
Rink ready.
ready
Yeah.
yet.
But Quinn Hughes gets traded to the Minnesota Wild for Marco Rossi, Zeev Buum, and Olgren, who is another couple years ago first rounder and a first round pick, gets shipped to Vancouver for Quinn Hughes. Obviously, a big caveat of this is the Wild are going to have to retain him, or else this trade doesn't look very fun anymore. But for now, I'm sure it's pretty exciting. We wanted to bring this up, connected to the Flyers, obviously, because we've talked about how uh, the Flyers aren't really taking their chances. They're being very patient, and this is what happens when you're patient. You kind of miss out on the opportunity. But when it gets released what the trade return was, it's very easy to see that the Flyers really didn't have much chance to kind of land this sort of trade. When the rumor mill really started cooking for Hughes, the return eventually turned into, they really do want a center for the future and whatever. And then you look at the Flyers, you're like, well, I mean, they don't really have any centers for the future, if we're being completely honest.
Well, I
So
honestly though, you brought this up the last show about Quinn Hughes. There's a certain someone that would say, send Matt Vey over because
sure.
and
So
honestly,
and that's what it would have taken,
if the Flyers offered Matt Vey York and like their first, the Canucks would have Quinn Hughes on the first flight out of Vancouver as soon as possible. Because like Marco Rossi is he's like a like top six potential. Like he's
He's
shown
very intriguing
Zeev
center.
Weedham, not saying Zeev Weedham's going to be is it the Norris Trophy for the best defenseman?
Yeah, I mean he
Like a
was a guy the
Norris
Flyers could
Trophy
have drafted.
finalist, maybe
Yeah,
he could, but like it felt like it felt like it was a lot for a guy that everyone around the league knew was not going to be a Vancouver Canuck.
yeah, it was definitely like I got to give credit to the Canucks. They still got a good haul for a guy that was really actively trying to get out of there.
That's a great
Um,
haul.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure. And the Flyers, Flyers writers, among others, were like trying to come up. If that's the trade package, the Flyers' best match against it would have been sending like Porter Martone, one of like Forster or Cam York, and someone like Denver Barkey or like Bump,
yes,
as
for a
well as a
team,
first.
yeah,
As well as a first.
for a team that struggles to score goals, you don't want to trade the guy who in 3 years from now will likely be your top goal scorer with like 30, 35, 40
But then,
goals.
yeah, yeah.
That's just
And
not, it's like you're a baseball team and you can't hit home runs. So, hey, we're going to trade for a pitcher and trade our best prospect that can hit 45 home runs.
yeah,
Like, it
and
just doesn't
granted,
make sense.
it's like Quinn Hughes is a great player, and it's as long as you extend him, it's also like a future cornerstone move because he is only 26 years old. It's not like when they traded for Pronger and he was older, but it's also not like trading for Pronger where the Flyers really had a lot of pieces in place to compete. They were in the conference finals just 2 years prior and were making the playoffs pretty regularly before they traded for Pronger, and that kind of pushed them over the hump to get to the Stanley Cup at least. Where this is like, Quinn Hughes is great, but he's not dragging this team from mediocrity into like the inner circle of contenders. So ultimately, the price just was too much for the Flyers to really take that swing. They don't, their biggest issue is the thing that every team is kind of looking for that are making these trades. So unfortunate, frustrating, but in terms of just like pretty big hockey trade, this is a pretty big one, man. This is a huge trade. The Wild are clearly trying to make some sort of push to take advantage of the Kaprizov, his
Well,
young
well,
age.
he's Kaprasov is the highest paid player in hockey still, right?
Yeah,
I know he was
yeah,
when he
yeah.
signed. Like, well deserved. Like,
He's
he's one of the,
awesome. No, like they're trying to listen. They're trying to push the envelope, and especially you look at the West in the NHL. It's significantly worse than what the Eastern Conference is. The East is like a massive cluster of a bunch of teams within like 6 points of each other, and
yeah, you got to push it. Like,
there's only
because
like one bottom feeder in the East, where you look
it
at the
does.
West and there's
I
like
don't know, man.
five bottom feeders.
It's kind of hilarious to me that the Oilers got McDavid. Basically, Connor McDavid signed the okay. You use my contract as an excuse to say that we can't get more players. They go and make a trade to acquire Yari,
Tristan Yari, yeah. I mean,
Christian
that's
Yari from
Trajari,
Jari from the Penguins. They trade
which that
Skinner.
trade is like lol. I mean, they went and got the other. If you had to handpick one goalie that's as similar to Stuart Skinner as possible, it's probably Tristan Jari. So, like,
Bro, I'll
it's not
put you
much of
this
an
way,
improvement.
Michael. I'll put you this way. Like when I was like a kid, like a teenager watching the Flyers, the equivalent of that trade would be like the Flyers trade Roman Czechmanek for Robert Esch. Like, wow, like
Yeah,
we're
but like
not getting better at
those
that
goalies
position.
were both just a lot better than what these two have been giving you. It's like it's trading your brand of ass for another brand of ass and trying to convince yourself as a fan that it's better because it's just not what you've seen before. Like it's let me
I texted my buddy, friend of the show, Zach, and I was like, "Well, looks like we can't rake them over the coals for Dan Vladar because if you're the Oilers, what has cost you the opportunity to win the Stanley Cup? It's been your goaltending. What's your defense?
goaltending and
It's
defense.
your
Yeah.
goaltending and your defense, but like like what the Flyers are this great defensive team. Is that why Dan
You get a
Vladar's
good
playing
goalie
well?
and it can bail out some bad
Like
defense,
I don't
but,
know, what if
like
Dan? What if like you pick up Dan Vladar? Like I don't know, trade the Flyers your first round pick for Dan Vladar because you're like, oh, this guy's just he's just having a
it'll
great
help,
year.
yeah. No, for sure. But so, yeah, some flurries of trades in the NHL. I saw the last point about how, like, the West isn't as competitive. I saw that it was, like, the last seed in the playoffs in the Western Conference is projected to finish the year with 85 points. And then you go
Wow,
over to the East, and it's 13 teams in the Eastern Conference are currently on pace to have more than 85 points. Obviously, I don't think that's going to happen. But,
dude, it
you
does.
know,
Dude, it feels like back in the
when all but 2
day.
teams in the East
So,
are
dude,
on their
so
way
dude,
to
so
90.
so in the NBA in like the early to mid 2000s, you were like you brought up the Sixers comp with the Flyers like last week.
Mhm.
Dude, the Sixers would sometimes make the playoffs with like 36, 38 wins, which is like bad. Like you're a bad team,
Right. I mean,
right?
it's like the 28 no, what am I thinking of? There was a year where the West in the NBA was so ridiculous. It might have been it was like 2018 or 2019. I mean, looking at the 2019 NBA standings, the 8 seed had 48 wins in the Western Conference, which, like, that feels pretty ridiculously high. They almost had 50 wins. Uh, 2017 NBA or excuse me, 2018 NBA standings, 47 win yeah, like, the NBA like, the Nuggets had 46 wins in 2018 and didn't make the playoffs. That feels just ridiculously unfortunate. Um, but yeah, so big trades in the NHL, but we have some football to talk about for better or for worse. Let's start off with Thursday night football. Once again, John, Mr. Thursday Night Football himself, correctly picks the game, and I was with you, and then I talked myself out of it for sure. Um, good thing though, I didn't believe enough to place any real US dollars on money lines or spreads for Thursday
I
because I
was
really
kicking
was
dude,
not in
I
there.
was kicking myself. I
Falcons money line, man.
so my I wagered 10 units with the boost on I had my parlay was it was a very conservative parlay, but here I'll read it to you.
That was wonderful. That was a nice one. Um,
So I got my so I as not to toot my own horn toot my own horn or anything, but I was getting mocked a little bit when I said I love the Falcons to outright beat Tampa and like what was my
with your
reason?
buddies. Yeah,
My
yeah.
buddies and this one buddy Sean, his name's Sean. He was like, dude, absolutely not. He's like, have you seen Kirk Cousins? He's terrible. I said, yeah, but the Buccaneers are a bad football team, and I think everyone's gonna officially find out how bad Baker's been for the last 2 months tonight.
Yeah,
Because the
finally.
Falcons have a ferocious pass rush and Baker holds on to the ball too long. That's just a bad recipe.
I mean, Baker really single-handedly sold the game. I know the defense of Tampa's did not play very well at all. I mean, giving up 370 passing yards to Kirk is never really a good thing, especially
So
when he's a
I
backup.
this was my lay. I just pulled it up. I had Bijan 50 alternate rushing yards.
I mean, that's free.
Tyler Algier 15 rushing yards. If you recall, he had like a 20-yard carry near the end of the game to
Mhm.
set them up to
He
get the
wasn't getting his usual bulk of
yeah
touches,
his
I'd say.
usual 10 touches. You only
Yeah.
they were basically they were down 2 possessions.
They were throwing, man. They were just
They were
throwing.
just throwing it, but they were feeding Bijan.
Yeah.
Like it's the end of the season. We're not making the playoffs. There's absolutely no point in preserving Bijan. Let's just get him his
Get him his
touches.
looks. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
You know, Darnell Mooney 3 receptions. If you recall, at the end of the game, he had the setup catch to set them up in the field goal range.
Mhm, mhm. This one became sweaty, huh?
Falcons plus 5.5, and then Bucky Irving 40 rushing yards.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's awesome.
The end
Like,
was sweaty. So then when the Falcons got the touchdown to bring it within 8 and missed the 2-point conversion, I live bet them plus 118, 7.5.
nice, nice. Yeah, no, for sure. That was smart. But overall, looking at the game, uh, Tampa's defense not that great, and Baker not that great at
Not
all.
that great. It's a very
Yeah,
it's a
it's a nice way to put it because I
that's a
mean,
generous way of describing
as
it.
bad as the defense was, and them kind of falling apart, 3rd and 28, giving up a big chunk, and then giving up the fourth down, all that sort of stuff. Fact of the matter is that Baker Mayfield could have easily put this game away had he not thrown a bad interception, and then had he hit Emeka Ibuka at the end of the game. They would like if he puts it on his front shoulder, if he leads him where he's supposed to put it, he catches it. First of all, he might catch it, run, and score the way he was moving on that route. But he had the very minimum is getting a first down and likely into field goal range at worst, and that kind of puts the game away. They probably could just need it out at that point, but the throw was a little behind, and they don't convert, and the Falcons get the ball back, and they muster up a drive to win the game. I mean, it was it was right there. It was truly right there to win it, and Baker didn't make big throws when
Dude, it kind of
the
reminded me of the Eagle Falcon game last year in week
it
2.
was similar. It was similar. I mean, it's just one of those games where like this is truly what Baker is, and a lot of people have this perception that he's like some Mr. Clutch time, like big time player, big time quarterback. He comes up big when it matters most, is what Peter Schrager said, and like, he just doesn't. Like, that just couldn't be more of a farce. All the excuses that you hear of like, "Oh, he's banged up," and then again, all that is fine and dandy, but it's why you don't put him in those conversations as if he wasn't like an MVP front runner for 7 weeks of the season. He was playing well, but he wasn't playing that well, and now you haven't heard a peep about people criticizing him from those same people that were crowning him back in September and October. So,
Yeah, what
I think that's where I get frustrated
we should
because
when
he
we do
can't
our
do any wrong.
when we do our tier lists, we should do one for quarterback PR because his is S
Quarterback
tier.
No, he has great PR. Everything is great, and then he's been playing garbage for the better part of, like, 2 months, and you haven't heard a damn thing about it, and this is, like, if you wanna make the injury excuse of all his weapons, fine. This was everyone was healthy. Everyone was there. Evans was there and playing great. Godwin was there and playing well. Ibuka was there and playing well. McMillan was there and having an impact. Everyone was there. Bucky was there. Tristan Wirfs was back. There was no excuse today, and he just sold it with bad throws. Simple as that.
I have a different take. Well, I have a take. I agree with your take.
They're a sinking ship.
I am not going to argue with you on that.
They're a sinking ship that
Wow,
they are losing out on the division
ironic.
to the Panthers, and listen, they still play them twice. Tampa could very easily still win the NFC South.
I find it somewhat fitting that they wore their orange creamsicle jerseys. You know, the jerseys they wore when they sucked ass for years.
Shout out, man. That was an awesome jersey matchup. Them
I
wearing the
mean, dude, it
creamsicles and the
was.
Falcons
Oh,
wearing
dude,
those
I'm not
blacks
going to
with
argue
the
with you on
red
that.
helmets.
I'm not going to argue with you on that. I just think it's kind of funny.
It
It's
is
like,
funny, yeah.
anyway, I have a different take. So Todd Bowles, who I think
It
is a
might
good.
it might be time, man.
Well, yeah, I think Todd Bowles is a good. I don't know. I'm gonna be careful how I word this. I think Todd Bowles used to be a very good coach. And I think right now what we're seeing in the NFL, especially on defense, is we're seeing a evolution of how teams play defense and how offenses work against blitz heavy defenses. Michael, Todd Bowles' scheme is very similar to like a Jim Johnson. We're going to blitz, blitz, blitz. You know, get after the quarterback, send extra rushers. We could say the Bucks just don't have the players to do that. You know, we could say that, I guess, to a certain extent. But Michael, Kirk Cousins is immobile. He can barely throw it 20 yards down the field because of his he's just old, you know, he's cooked. why are you blitzing every single play when you know that he's just going to check it down and you're going to leave yourself open to the check down?
You know that ball's coming out quick
You
with
know
Kirk
that's coming out
Cousins.
quick. Like what? Like
I mean, it's the Steve Spagnuolo and the Chiefs are experiencing the brunt of this too. They have their 31st in defensive success rate on 3rd and 7 or
the
longer.
Philadelphia Eagles, like literally, just like you talk about like the NFL being a copycat league. In other words, when someone's very good at something,
Well,
that
there's like 2 defensive schemes that exist. It's like the Fangio style defense and then like the Spags blitz style
we'll call
defense.
it the Jim Johnson defense. He's the one who kind of created it, and now all these,
Sure.
we'll call it the Jim
And there's
Johnson
like the
style.
Vance Joseph, which is like somewhere in between. But the truth is that like these teams are just too well versed on having answers to the blitz constantly and when you can expect it. Like for a team like Tampa that blitzes a ton, the best defense you can probably run is showing the blitz, showing it, and everyone's like, listen, they do it all the time. We know what's coming. And then dropping out of it or running a sim pressure and having someone drop right into a passing lane that he wants to quickly get it off to Kyle Pitts, who obviously burying the lead there. Kyle Pitts was awesome on Thursday night, shout out. Um,
Oh,
but
I picked him up in fantasy, and then I was saying my buddy's memes. I sent a meme of like a tropical paradise to the guy I was playing in fantasy, and I said, "This is what life is like when you have Kyle Pitts on your team."
absolutely, man, like that was awesome. So Todd Bowles is definitely staring down the barrel of unemployment. I think uh,
I just think that that defense is just outdated because
it's just time, man. You look at like not for nothing. I saw this tweet and I was like, yeah, whatever. But then I kind of thought about it. And it's true. He was the coach when Tom Brady led team went 8-9. Like, if Tom Brady's not going 500, I don't care if he was old and whatever. It's just that's an indictment on the coach, man. You got to be able to lead a defense to something that's a little bit better than 500 with, Brady. I don't care if he unretire. It's just kind of crazy to put it that way. And you look at the way Tampa's been built, and if Baker is this almighty great quarterback, they've underperformed. Like, they've won 1 playoff game against the Eagles, and that was really it in this Baker era of Buccaneer football, that they beat the Eagles in a wild card round and then,
the Eagles.
lost a tough one to the Lions, and then
Well, then the
they
Eagles then
last year.
rebuilt their team and won a Super Bowl afterwards.
Sure,
Like,
and then the following year,
congratulations, you know.
they gift wrapped Washington's wild card win on a silver platter. Like, who knows what the NFC playoffs looked like last year if Tampa didn't shoot themselves in the foot 6 times against the Commanders. They would have won that game. I mean, they gifted them some deep in their own zone turnovers, and, you know, Tampa then goes to play, us, right? Would they have went and played us? Potentially,
No,
I'm trying.
would they have beaten the Lions? I don't know.
Would they have played the Lions? Yes, they would have. They would have played Detroit, and it's like they were not beating the Lions. I find that hard to believe, and that totally changes everything, of course. So yeah, I mean, they've the, I to kind of go on like a little Baker soapbox. I remember pretty vividly when he signed that big contract with them of 3 years, like 100 something million, whatever it was. And I said, I don't even know if I said on the show. I remember I was on like spring break. I remember this happening. And I said, to me, this is just committing to mediocrity. You're committing to a quarterback that your ceiling isn't the Super Bowl. I don't think Baker Mayfield can win a Super Bowl unless the team around him is genuinely perfect. And it's just not. The Buccaneers defense has never been that amazing, in the post Brady era, whatever. And when you signed 3 years to a quarterback that's falls somewhere between like 14 and like 20 on like the rankings, it's just hard to win. And this is what you see. We're on 2 months now of bad quarterback play from Baker Mayfield, and they're about to choke the division away to a Panthers team that is just not good, like, at all. It's really not a good team, and they play them twice, they could beat them twice and
Yeah,
put
but
the
you know
division
what
away,
the
but
thing about
it's
the
just bad.
Panthers is, Michael? Like, the Panthers are well coached. We know, like,
Sure.
I think F Giro is a really good defensive coordinator. Like,
Yeah,
he is really good, but he just never has any players. And now they kind of have some players.
they have a
Like,
couple.
they have a couple
Derek
players.
Brown's healthy, like, that's the biggest thing, and JC Horn, and that and they're yeah, they are a better coach. Dave Canales is a better coach. I mean, this is the first year that, the Buccaneers offensive coordinator pipeline isn't, like, perfect because they're not running as many screens. They're not running as many quick throws that they've ran in previous years that is part of what makes Baker look so good. The screen game in Tampa was, like, the biggest thing for them. It was just a bunch of little quick
Do
screens
you
that make the
think?
stats look
Yeah,
good and stuff.
I think a big issue in Tampa.
They're trusting Baker, and he's letting them down.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Baker's a system quarterback, and it was the system that Liam Cohen and Dave Canales ran that helped him make him look good to a
Right.
certain extent. Josh Grizzard from the Rams, he's probably trying to implement a lot of the Stafford like schemes, I guess. And
Mhm.
Matthew Stafford's a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback, and Baker's not, so he can't run the same system. Sorry, it just
Yeah. It's listen, man, it's tough. But yeah, Buccaneers not looking pretty. But let's pivot. Let's pivot to Sunday. Got a slate. Um, First game up on the docket, the Houston Texans take on the Arizona Cardinals. Now the Texans, 9.5-point favorites at home against the Cardinals. They are riding high. They are on a how many games at this point have they won
Bro,
in
I
a
need the
row?
Texans in that futures to win this game. They cannot drop this game. They cannot afford to drop this game.
They've won 5 in a row. They've won, uh, like, 6 of their last 7 of their last 9. They're obviously on an upswing here. 5 in a row is a big deal in the NFL. They're going for 6 against a pretty dysfunctional team, I'd say, a pretty broken team. Gannon looks like he could be on his way out. It looks like there could be a quarterback change in there, or at least a moving off of a quarterback and committing to Brissett for a year, like something like that.
That is just if you're just going to get rid of Kyler and commit to Brissett for a year,
I mean, when I say commit to Brissett for a
I'm
year,
sorry, that's just like unacceptable. By the way,
it's like a bridge. I
no
mean,
Maserati Marv again this week for the Cardinals,
the
which
Cardinals are a bad team, man. They have really no like their offensive infrastructure is not all that great.
dude
And
dude you don't remember when the Cardinals drafted Larry Fitzgerald, but everyone thought that like when they drafted Larry Fitzgerald, like, oh my God, Larry Fitzgerald's going to be like truly an elite NFL wide receiver. He was in the Eli Manning draft to put that into perspective. Um, Michael, the Cardinals have lost 10 of their last 11 games.
I mean, they're not good, man. They're a bad team, and the Texans, their defense is cooking. Now, could the Texans defense lighten up a little bit? Like, honestly, no, because you look at it, they play the Raiders next week, and that's not a game that you're, like, looking ahead to. You're looking ahead to, like, the Charger game, but that's in a couple weeks, and then obviously the Colts games, but, like, these are 2 that, you got through the brunt of sweeping the Bills, Colts, Chiefs, uh, the last 3 weeks. Now is the time to kinda to bank home a couple wins and get out of there with a couple wins. I'm gonna take the Texans minus 9.5. I do think that their defense is just gonna be relentless yet again. And their offense, the Cardinals defense isn't brutal. They got some guys that are fine, but as a unit, they still don't really put up good games. And I
Wow.
think the
So
Texans can really
The
continue to
Texans
improve on offense.
have an extremely favorable schedule to end the season. at home versus the Cardinals, at home versus the Raiders, at LA to play the Chargers, and then at home to face the Colts, who knows who's going to be the quarterback that day for the Indianapolis Colts. Maybe it's Andrew Luck at the rate that they're devolving at the quarterback position for all
Yeah.
we know. I'm going to take the Texans as well, Michael. I do feel like one guy who no one's been talking about since he's been back from injury this year is CJ Stroud. He's 11th in QBR on the season. Obviously, the Texans defense is grabbing the headlines. I'm looking at the Arizona Cardinals, like these scores that they have every week. Michael, the Cardinals have given up 40 plus points 3 out of the last 5 weeks. That's bad, man. That's bad. We could maybe. I think this could be the game where the Texans blow them out, and people are going to talk about the Texans like, well, gee, Bo Nix isn't playing well. Oh, like Drake May's unproven. Stroud's been in the playoffs, could be in the playoffs for his 3rd year in a row to start his career. You know, like that's
Yeah, I
kind of hard
mean,
to do as a as a 3rd year quarterback to make the playoffs your first 3 years in the NFL starting. Like, how
yeah,
often has that happened?
no, I hear you for
You know,
sure.
so I'm going with the Texans, man.
Yeah, they're listen. If you believe in them to win the Super Bowl, I hope you got those bets in already before it gets
Oh
worse.
God, I don't want to talk about. Oh my God,
Should we just talk about them now because they don't deserve to be last?
sure.
All right, Eagles, Raiders in Philadelphia. Potential snow, maybe just in the morning and some residue left over on the field. I don't think the snow's actually. It's not supposed to fall during the game, but if the infamous snow bowl taught us anything, is that that day wasn't supposed to snow at all, and there was an entire blizzard. So who knows what we're in store for on Sunday? I guess we will be seeing. But snow game in the morning at least, and cold none the less. The Philadelphia Eagles are 12.5 point favorites at home against the Raiders. There is nothing I would love to see more than, like, Jalen throwing, like, 18 of 26 for 250 yards and 2 touchdowns and a pick. I'd love to see it, and it's like a bunch of over the middle throws, throwing with anticipation. I've gotten to the point where I've watched enough highlights of the Charger game, and I watched enough of
Why
anything
are
to
you
be like,
torturing yourself?
"You know what? They just need to keep doing it because the only way Jalen's gonna feel fully comfortable letting it rip over the middle a lot is if they just keep doing it in games. We've gone 5 years now where this head coach has been so in his ear about protecting the football and not taking risks to the point where, yeah, no wonder he's not comfortable throwing over the middle. He hasn't been doing it. The one year they really let him sling it, he threw 15 interceptions. However, his turnover worthy play rate was among the lowest in the entire NFL. It was lower than it was last year when everyone praises how great everything was. The truth is that if you want a quarterback that is able to rip it over the middle consistently and make big time throws whenever you possibly need them, interceptions are going to come. It's just part of the growing and learning process. Jalen threw some picks, like the one that went off AJ Brown's hands that he should have caught. However, the ball was late. It was late and it was high. And part of it being late means that AJ feels the heat coming in, and it's part of him alligator arming it and not going up and catching it. Where if he throws it with a little more
Well, nah, that's not
anticipation,
really
it
what
gets caught.
alligator arming actually means. Is it hit off his hands? Alligator arming would have been Jalen throws the bullet over the middle. AJ sees the guy coming at him that's going to
I mean,
hit him.
you look at his eyes. He's not looking at the ball. He's looking right at the linebacker that's about to hit him. That's what it is. He tried to make the catch without looking at the ball because he was worried about where the hit was coming in. That's not great. However, if that ball's out 2 beats earlier when he's open, that's not a worry. And again, I'm not even blaming the players as much as I'm blaming The
Well,
coaches for
I
like
mean,
this is
I
their
mean,
coaching
I think
philosophy.
everyone deserves blame. I will say this though.
Of course, but
I don't know,
it's the
man. AJ Brown's
philosophy of the
bigger. I
team.
mean, AJ Brown is a bigger, strong wide receiver.
I'm not listen, John, I'm not talking about like, oh, that specific play as much as it's a general process thing of him waiting to throw things over the middle until they're wide open in his view, as opposed to throwing with the anticipation. You see him throw with anticipation, but what's the theme of when those throws come? The game's in the balance. It's already pretty much finished. He did against the Bears a ton when they were down by 2 possessions in the fourth quarter with under 10 minutes to go. Game's over. What's the risk at that point? If you throw a pick, who cares? You're down 2 possessions. You got to take the chance. He does it on second and long in overtime because if he doesn't do it and he throws the pick, who cares? We got to push the ball
I
downfield.
I
And
agree
he
with
makes
that.
that
I
great throw
agree
to
with your
Devontae
take.
Smith.
I agree with your take. I have the same take with Drake May on this. When you watch Patriots games, they basically run the same Tom Brady's Patriot offense with Drake May, and
Well, it's
like,
Josh McDaniels. What you're gonna get.
and my only thing is that when like Tom Brady, I'm not comparing Jalen Hurts to Tom Brady like they're equals, but like you would see Brady in games when like Brady has a ton of come from behind wins under his belt, tons of game winning drives. Right? What would he do in a lot of those drives? He'd push it. He'd push it and force it in tight
It's
windows.
true. You see Jalen make those throws. That throw to Devontae Smith in overtime is the one that everyone's talking about. It's a great throw. He will
He
never,
threw him
ever,
open.
ever, ever make that throw in the first quarter of a game because he doesn't feel he needs to. There's no point in taking that risk because of what the coaching philosophy of this team is. And you see he'll make those throws outside the numbers with anticipation because the risk is less. But when it becomes in between the numbers, over the middle, the risk is higher. So he's a little more timid when he does it. I don't think he's incapable of doing it as we can see him succeed doing it. But it'd be nice if over the last 5 years, they let him off the leash a little bit, maybe throws a couple more interceptions here and there. But at this point, we'd be expecting him to be confident to make those sort of
Well, the
throws over
only
the
coach
middle.
that ever got him off the leash was Shane Steichen.
Sure. And even then, the general philosophy was still not as hyper aggressive over the middle because that comes from the head coach. Like that's just all that is. It does come from the head coach. It's less the OC and significantly more it comes from him and his team philosophy of protecting turnover, like winning the turnover battle equals wins. And like no shit. But when you don't have the running game to lean on, it's a lot harder. So, anyways, that was my little soapbox of just what I'd like to see from Jalen the rest of the year. Just keep ripping it over the middle, keep calling those plays. We're gonna find out that he's really incapable of doing it, or we're gonna push through it and we're gonna figure it out by January. It's gonna be figured out. I'm sick of just banking on the running game, figuring itself out, and that's how
Wow,
everything's gonna be
you're
fine.
way
Like
more
we're just gonna
positive than me.
we're gonna it's not even positive. It's just like we're
So
gonna
you're
figure
taking
it
the
out.
Eagles playing the 12 and a half against Kenny Pickett and the Raiders.
Like
Who-
that's my thought. It's just that the Raiders are a really, really, really horrible football team. There's
Yeah, who
very
else was
little.
really, really horrible? The Arizona Cardinals 2 years ago.
I listen, I get that. I do
And
think
granted, Kyler Murray is way more talented than Kenny
yes,
Pickett.
yes. There's
I
a
am
lot and,
not going to debate that. And like, but
that
and
Cardinals O-line
I
was a
don't know if
lot better
rookie. And
too.
honestly, I don't know if rookie Ashton Genty is better than prime James
We're
Conner.
also we're also losing the fact that that defense was atrocious. You know, if we play that game again with the same offense, but this year's defense, I'm sorry, but the Eagles win that game by 20. Like, it's just what it is. That defense was horrible, and that's why I do believe in the Eagles to win against a really bad team. I mean, they're not playing well, but they're not that bad, and the only thing I'm really worried about is just, like, the thought of Max Crosby against Fred Johnson. That's a little worrisome, and even against Jordan Mailata, to be completely honest with you, because that guy's been garbage all year. So, we'll see how that matchup goes, but, like, I do think they got some things positive in the run game, and they should be able to build off it against a just an atrocious defense. And you should try things in the passing game and keep doing what you did against the
You know
Chargers.
who's catching a lot of flack right now, and I'm yeah up right now is obviously Jalen Hurts. I mean, the WIP brigade all says to this is what I don't understand is this. was Jalen Hurts bad Monday?
Yeah, you
Yes,
could.
in the same offense with the same schemes, is Tanner McKee going to do a better job? No.
No, I mean, that's not even worth entertaining. It not only is that such a dumb thought, but it's also if you're doing that, you're trading Jalen in the offseason. You're doing because you're not benching him and then going back to him. That doesn't happen.
And I don't know if you even saw this. Is that WIP I don't know. I don't know if you saw like Spike Eskin's been catching a ton of flack because I think for like the social aspects of what they're doing, like basically all the hosts are a certain
I
demographic.
mean, they're not. Yeah, no,
They're
for
all a
sure.
certain demographic, and they all talk bad about another demographic, and then there's another demographic where they always talk favorably about, and it it just looks really bad,
Hmm.
and yeah, that's all I'm gonna say for in regards to that. I'll say this though about this game. I'm taking the Raiders, by the way, because I can't trust this team to cover a 12.5 point spread at all.
You know what this game's
Um,
going to be like? The
Giant
20.
game,
Mm,
2020, the first one.
no, 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 no. We're going a little further back. The 2019 Eagles Jets, if you remember. They won 31-6, and Nate Gary and Orlando Scandrick had touchdowns for the Philadelphia Eagles that day, on a day where the Eagles offense only put up like 17 points, and they beat what's the quarterback's name? Um,
Nice Petty,
no, no. Uh,
Mike White.
that's right. That's right. They beat. Go ahead. I'll give you another guess.
Oh right. I
Luke Falk. Luke Falk.
that might Luke Falk might be the worst opposing quarterback I've ever watched in person
Luke
play against
Falk
the Eagles.
and the Le'Veon Bell led Jets. And the holy hell. And the Demarius Thomas leading receiver of the Jets. Are
R.I.P.
you kidding me?
R.I.P. Demarius Thomas.
I
Great
mean, listen
player.
to these names on the New York Jets. Luke Falk, starting quarterback, Le'Veon Bell, Bilal Powell, Ty Montgomery, Demarius Thomas, Robbie Anderson at the time,
Robbie
and
Chosen.
Jamison Crowder. That Eagles team, or sorry, that Jets team lost 31-6 to the Eagles, where Carson Wentz threw 17 of 19 for 189 yards. They only averaged 2.9 yards a carry as a team, and it was just the defense. It was simply just the defense as
Jim Schwartz.
Orlando
Jim
Scandrick
Schwartz
and
put Luke Falk in hell.
yeah, man, Luke Falk, 15 of 26, 120 yards, so
Yikes.
4.6 yards of
Kenny's
completion.
better than Luke Falk, bro. Luke Falk's probably selling like
My point is that's
life
that's the
insurance right
vibe of game that I have
now.
in mind, potentially, that the defense goes nuclear and they, you know,
Jalen Carter's back, maybe.
no, Carter and Lane Johnson are out. Fred Johnson is playing, Landon Dickerson is playing, but yeah, no, they're not pushing Jalen Carter for this game.
Can I? So I want to. I just have one last thing, and then we'll move on to the rest of the games here. I want to bring up. Don't you kind of feel like in years past, like you feel like, oh, why would this coach want to come here? I think the Eagles' OC job, unless they have a new head coach that calls plays, because the Sirianni Howie Roseman relationship just deteriorates beyond repair, and they
Right.
have the Eagles' OC job is going to be, I think, the most desirable OC job of all the available openings. Because whoever gets that job and basically institutes like basic normal changes,
Right.
or changes congruent to how NFL offenses are progressing, is
Hmm.
virtually guaranteed to be an NFL head coach. Like, think about that. If you're successful with the Eagles offense, you get a promotion.
It doesn't take a lot, you're right.
Gets a promotion. If you're bad, you get fired. Like that's kind of how the NFL operates. You get promoted or you get fired. It's very hard to stay in the middle,
Mhm.
like in that. And I think, and look, I think we should, our next game, either you get promoted or you get fired.
Yeah, yeah.
Jets at Jaguars.
Uh,
Jaguars. Liam Cohen. It's got him cooking.
yeah, it's pretty, I'll say that it's pretty, like Jags are on a high. Gotta give Liam Cohen a lot of credit, and the Jets, you know, they're just kinda going through the motions. However, 13.5 points is a lot, and the Jets they're about 500 covering spreads. They just don't win any games.
Brady Cook starting for the New York Jets.
Yeah, the Jets are really bad, man. I mean, I'm taking the Jags minus 13.5. When I look at this game, when you look at the Jets, they're one of the only teams that are going through what I would call, or what I heard someone else call, and I'm gonna steal, like an NBA style rebuild where they literally just burnt everything to the ground. All of their good players are gone, and they're just gonna restart. Like they're just start. Like they have some nice infrastructure, the offensive line, but it's like two-star defensive players, goodbye, they're gone. Breece Hall in the offseason, he's gone. Like, they are just kinda letting it all fall apart and, you know, are gonna bank on being able to build around an offensive line and, like, Garrett Wilson and then go from there.
I gotta be honest though. I'm not just. This is kind of my thoughts. I think acquiring as many first round picks as you can for the next two drafts is incredibly smart because it's going to be two of the most talent loaded drafts. So, Michael,
Mhm.
the first round picks that you're going to get in these drafts, these upcoming drafts, may be the equivalent to having top 10 picks in the last couple drafts in terms of talent, right?
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
The Jets could listen. I know, like the Colts pick could be really good, and like the Cowboys pick can be really good too. Like
Mhm.
I don't know, dude. The Cowboys don't exactly like if George Pickens leaves. What's that offense going to look like next year? I don't know. Are they going to draft
No,
Jeremiah?
they I
Are they
think
going
they
to
very
draft
much need
Jeremiah
him.
Love because they're starting running back, who's having a very good season in Javante Williams, is going to be a free agent, and the Cowboys don't really do a great job retaining veteran free agents. They just let them go, you know?
Yeah,
So,
I think they definitely need to
and
keep
with that
Pickens.
being said, with regards to the Jaguars, here's the thing though, man, with the Jags is I think the Texans are going to steal this division because the Jags are so up and down, like so up and down. I would not be surprised if I would not. It would not shock me if they bottle this game or potentially bottle another. They have another. They also have a favorable schedule. The Jags play the Colts next week.
That's a huge game. It's a shame that the Colts have become like, oh, they're the favorable because they it's because the quarterback situation is dead.
The Jets just feel like an annoying team to play against. That's just the vibe I get
Mhm.
from the Jets.
Mhm.
Can and they're 7-6 this year against the spread. So, but so are the Jags are 8-5. I'm going to take Jacksonville like cautiously. I would stay away from this game in all honesty.
Yeah, yeah. Um, the next game that we have on the docket is the Browns-Bears. This is an interesting one. The
Do you remember
Bears
like 2 years ago when we thought that Shador was going to be the first overall pick potentially, and this could have been the battle of the two first overall picks, back to back years.
yeah, I mean, you know. So the Browns, they're the fun pick, they're getting picked heavily on the spread here to cover 7.5 against Chicago,
Why?
um, because that defense is great, and they The Bears defense still isn't all that good, and I think people are riding the Shador high that he had a pretty big statistical game, made some big throws against the Titans, obviously in a tough loss, but I don't know. This feels like, Bears coming off a tough loss. They could be, in a desperate spot to keep up with that division. They do play the Packers next week, which that just feels ridiculous, but they do. They're the actual they're Saturday night. So, next Saturday night. I think I'm just gonna take the Bears minus 7.5 and call it.
Tough loss for the Browns last week.
Mhm,
Yeah, I will say this: like Kevin Stefanski, he is most certainly going to get fired. I think because it
mhm,
just seems the way like his handling of Shador to me, like not having him on the field to like at least try the 2 point conversion, running maybe the worst 2 point conversion attempt of all time.
mhm.
It's almost like he's trying. It does legitimately feel like he's trying to spite him, and I think to a certain extent he's pissed off that he's doing well. I know that's a conspiracy theory,
I
but
mean, it's definitely a conspiracy theory, but
well, no,
I
it's
hear you.
no. Apparently, he was one of the guys that Shador was like, "Your scheme blows," like in the meeting, like your scheme blows, dude.
Oh, I
Which,
never saw that.
well, I think it was he said it to Brian Dable of the Giants, so they removed him off their draft board entirely.
I don't remember seeing any of this stuff, I'll be honest with you.
What?
Like, Shador calling out a bad scheme of the coaches in the NFL, that
Well, I think they were
feels
asking him
crazy,
about like
no?
oh, what do you think of this play? And he's like, I hate it. It's not really like a great scheme
Interesting. I've never seen
or
that.
something. I
Wow.
don't know, something along those lines where he's criticizing them to their face, and they got pissed off, and that's why like it's like that they conspired to not pick him or something. I don't know. It was you have to admit there was some hanky panky going on draft day for Shador.
Right,
You mean to seriously tell me that like a team like the Raiders that has no future quarterback would not have picked him
right.
on day 3? You know what I mean? Anywho, I can't. I'm taking the Browns. I'm going to give you kind of my explanation why. Did you see what happened with Ben Johnson after the Eagle game where he ripped his shirt off or tore his shirt off and was like celebrating? That just feels like it's going to be a meme. Like that was like the highlight of the Bears
I
season. Like
mean, I don't know, man.
because you
I
saw
think
last week against the
I
Packers, like
think we're
yes,
just a little
like
sour grapes, like,
no. I'm just saying it's like you're celebrating like you won a playoff game and it's a regular season
because it
game.
was a big game. I don't know. I get what you're saying, but I don't think, like, do I think the Bears are just gonna collapse after that? No. The answer is no.
No,
Do I
I
think
just think no, I just think that the Browns defense is going to
okay.
put. I think they're gonna put Caleb Williams in hell, and I think Shador is gonna make enough plays. Like this is basically the Browns right now. Shador makes 5 big plays. Quinshon Judkins picks up like 100 yards, and their defense just makes a bunch of stops. Essentially, they
Yeah.
lost to the worst team in the NFL last week. I'm sorry that if you're, I'm sorry, guys on that team are going to be pissed going into this game against the Bears. And the Bears, oh, we hung
I mean,
in
the
there.
Bears are gonna be pissed, man. They just lost
I
potentially
think the
the
Bears, the
division
Bears
right
are going to
there.
choke this division away, in my opinion. I
I mean,
think
I wouldn't call it a choke. I'd call it like, they lost the
they're still
competitive
the
division.
Bears. They're still the Bears.
And listen, they're a year away, I think, or maybe
I
2
agree. I
from
think they're a year
building on.
away, and I feel like, oh, this is like because okay, this is the way I approach Week 15. The Bears are a bit massive heavy on the money line. The Jags are a massive heavy on the money line. The Eagles are a massive heavily on the money line. You're not the public is not going to get all three or three. Oh, here you go. The Seahawks are a heavy on the money line.
No, there's a lot of big
The
spreads this week.
Niners are
I
a
hear
heavy
you.
on the money line. You're not getting all 5. That is
Okay.
not happening, and you know that's not happening.
Mm,
I'm just
okay.
saying. I am just
We'll
saying.
see who
If
falls.
there's the team most likely to buck that is probably Cleveland. What, you think the 44-year-old Philip Rivers is going to buck that? You know how embarrassing that would. Anyway, let's. I'm picking the Browns. We gotta keep moving because you got a hard stop
Yeah.
at 11 here.
Yeah.
Let's just keep going.
Bills Patriots. Perhaps the game of the week.
When the hell is the last time Josh Allen's been a money dog?
Well, he's favored. The Bills are favorites.
Oh, the
They're
Bills
one
are
and a half
favored.
point. Yeah,
Oh,
they're one
well,
and a half
people are
point
taking the Patriots.
favorites.
Well, the money's on the Patriots on the money line. People are taking them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm taking the Bills. I'll tell you right now.
I am taking the Bills as well. I
You look
100%.
at that. I saw that Mina Kimes video and Ben Solak video talking about how the Patriots defense since like week 9 is 31st in run defense, 31st in run defense success rate and like run stop rate. They're like bottom 3, and it's like a lot of bad stats about their run defense over the last like month and a half or so. And what do we know about this Buffalo Bills team? If they want to win games, they are going to establish the run. They are going to give you a heavy dose of James Cook, a heavy dose of Josh Allen, and some nice flurries of Ty Johnson and Ray Davis here and there. If they are able to establish the run early, I don't think the Patriots are going to have a shot. Like, I think offensively they can keep up with the Bills, but I think the Bills are going to be able to control the clock and they're going to make Drake May be in a position where I think he's gonna I don't wanna say he's gonna press, but, like, they're gonna put him in a bit of a desperation mode, and I think that, it's just gonna take one turnover, and that'll be pretty much it. So give me Buffalo minus 1.5.
I'm taking Buffalo as well. So one thing I noticed is the Bill, obviously Patriots coming off a bye. So there's one guy that besides one game, everyone's talking about Travion Henderson. And over his last 4 games, if you take out the Tampa game, which look, we both agree that Tampa just blows, like 3.9 yards per carry, 3.3 yards per carry, 3.7 yards per carry.
I mean,
I
it's nothing new. Like, the Patriots we know the Patriots' offensive line isn't all that great. Like,
Will
it's
Campbell's
injured.
banged up.
It's injured. It was never that good to begin with, and, like, this was kind of the knock on Travion Henderson too, that, like, a down to down back, um, every, like, 3 down running back, he's just not super efficient. He just hits the big home runs, has that big play capability, and that's great. That's a great feature to have. You can kinda teach that other stuff along the way, but the running game, despite having a guy like Travion Henderson, isn't that good because they can't on a down to down basis aren't that good. He just can hit a couple big ones, and that's what he is. So 3 point something yards a carry. His average yards per carry on the season is not gonna be good, and game by game is not gonna be good unless he breaks one.
The Bills have always been very cautious about monitoring James Cook's carries. He's at 249 on the season. This feels like in a gotta have it game, they're gonna like you brought up like Ray Davis and Ty Johnson. I think this is gonna be the let James cook, let him
Yeah, they're
cook,
gonna have to, man. They're
sprinkle
gonna have
in,
to. Because
obviously.
not gonna this division is not over. Like, everyone's saying it's locked. Like, this is a Patriots win, they clinch. This is for the division. If they win, they clinch the AFC East. If they lose, things get a little hairier, up in New
They
England.
gotta play the
Now,
Ravens.
yeah, they gotta play a Ravens team that is obviously floundering, but, they still got guys in Baltimore as well, prime time. Luckily, they play the Jets, and they finished the year against the Dolphins, which the Dolphins are definitely not the Dolphins of what they were early in the season, so they're definitely a little friskier of an opponent. Um, but this is a huge one. Patriots wanna win it. They gotta win it now because you could blink and, the Bills play, the Bills next week take on the what the take on the Browns. So we could potentially have a tie in the AFC East by next week, if the Patriots drop a couple and the Bills win a couple, and then things get real
Well,
hairy.
it
So
would go down to division record. So the Patriots would have one divisional loss because they lost to the Raiders and they lost to the Steelers this year,
no, it would
right?
definitely just get hairy. Where the Bills, they play us, and
Well,
we know how we
The
feel about
Bills have
us.
have already have two divisional losses. They lost
Yeah,
that
but if the
game against
like, is it
Dolphins.
impossible for Buffalo to win out at New England, at Cleveland, home Philadelphia, home Jets?
Oh no, it's not impossible. No,
Not at
I agree
all.
with you.
Not at all.
I do.
So
I
yeah,
agree with you. So yeah,
next
we're
game
going
we
to take the
have,
Bills.
yeah, Ravens Bengals in Cincinnati. Ravens are 2.5 point favorites.
So
Everyone's loading up on the Bengals. Is
why?
this the trap? Is this
Why?
the why? Because the Bengals look better than the Ravens, John, and you know that. They look a lot better than the Ravens. I mean, the offense is playing a lot better than Baltimore's offense. The defense is kind of playing better than Baltimore's defense too. It's pretty close, at least neck and neck. Pretty two atrocious defenses. Granted, no T. Higgins, who was definitely concussed very early on in that snow game, and they just left him out there, just malpractice. But
Wow, nothing else new for the Bengals, but keep
my
going.
mind, like I wanted to take the Bengals today, and I feel like I still probably will. I just feel like the Ravens are in free fall and are kind of in quit mode, and are almost the players are probably like, you know what, we just keep taking these losses. Harbaugh's going to be out of here. It's what it feels like the way they go out and play every Sunday. They just do not. They don't really have the guts at the moment. Defensively, they're soft. Offensively, it's like they can't get out of their own way. Lamar throws what would have been a touchdown, but Mark Andrews essentially deflects it out of the way of DeAndre Hopkins, and then obviously the Isaiah Likely issue, which you can argue bad reffing, but how many times is Isaiah Likely not going to finish a touchdown because his toes out of bounds? He can't complete the catch. He's fumbling at the goal line. There's always something. So I
Have you
don't
heard
know,
the
man.
name L.J. Smith?
Yeah, exactly.
He's
And
L.J. Smith. He's the
you
modern
look
day
at
L.J.
like
Smith.
the Bengals, Joe Burrow has a nice long dissertation about being potentially not happy playing and being frustrated. To me, that doesn't sound like I'm just going to go out there and roll over and die in my next game. That feels like I'm going to go cook and dominate. So I'm taking the Bengals.
I'm taking the Ravens. Lamar Jackson struggled his last start against the Bengals, but historically, particularly over the last couple of years, he has been just killing Cincinnati.
Hmm.
Let's just kind of see. Wow. Lamar Jackson has missed practice time for 5 straight weeks.
Yeah, he misses one game a week pretty much all the time.
Let's just see the injury report here, real quick. I mean, sir, are you going? Are you gonna kind of go on the? They're gonna quit on Harbaugh to get him fired train?
Like, I'm not saying it's like a
Because I might flip my
conspiracy.
pick to the Bengals as well.
I'm not saying it's some big conspiracy that they're doing it, but it just feels like
Well, it feels like Madueke is like all but retired now. This
Matabike, yeah,
injury is
yeah. I
so
mean, when
serious.
things aren't going well, they don't seem like they're bucking down to make it go better. I feel like they just seem to be like over it at this point.
Yeah, I kind of
And
agree with
it's
that.
tough, man. It's stale. It's stale. I
This
mean,
is gonna feel honestly, and
where
in
would the
truth,
Eagles be if they hadn't won the Super Bowl last year?
I don't even want to think about that.
Exactly.
It doesn't it kind of
Anyway,
feel like though, like the Bengals are like the best like December team of like winning meaningless games that have no meaning for them.
well, I
Like
mean, it's just 2 years in a row where Burrow's been banged up, and then he comes back, and everyone's like, Joe Burrow is really good. Like
this
that's
feels like a Jamar. Here's the thing: like the last time these two teams played, I picked since last time these two teams played it was on Thanksgiving, and Jamar Chase had a monster game, but whenever they got in the red zone, the Ravens like quadruple teamed him, and like literally guys you've never heard of, like Drew Sample, were like getting touchdowns because they were left wide open.
Right.
I feel like, especially now T. Higgins is banged up,
They're going to do it again.
they're going to do it again, and they're probably going to lose.
Yeah. So you're taking. Who are you taking? You
I'm
pick.
taking Cincinnati.
Well, it's flipping.
But I think, see, like, I want to bet Jamar Chase so bad for a touchdown tomorrow because, like, I have to bank on, like, a 60-yard score,
Right.
which might not even happen. Like, those don't, which, like,
It's hard to, yeah. Another good game in the 1 o'clock window. Chargers Chiefs. The Chiefs are 5.5 point favorites. That's got to be a mistake. Like that feels
what do you
crazy,
mean it's
right?
got to be a mistake?
I mean, what
Chargers
business
on a
do the
short
Chiefs
week,
have laying
big
5.5
emotional
against
win.
anybody?
I mean, the Eagles, I mean, kind of like
Chiefs season's over. They're dead.
is that official?
I mean, they don't have the E next to their name, but they got a long ways to go. And
There is one coach who has thoroughly dominated the month of December in his coaching career. It's Andy Reid.
well, he's not off to a good start, John.
Uh,
A 10-point performance at home on Sunday night, so it's not a
Yikes.
great start, man. I just think that all those trends are kinda out the window at this point, at least for this year. I don't think we can keep
You know,
Patrick Mahomes has this great record versus the AFC West, and
Matt
Andy Reid is great
Nagy,
in December.
Matt Nagy should really send Kevin Patullo a Christmas card because he would be the laughing stock OC of the NFL if Kevin Patullo wasn't screwing the Eagles up so badly.
Yeah,
Screwing
I
up.
mean, the Chiefs are just not like, I'll say this, though. While I do think the Chiefs can win this game, I definitely don't think they're gonna win by a touchdown or more. Like, it screams they are going to be a
Game-winning field
close.
goal,
Yeah, either way.
Pucker.
Um, sure, or Dicker, it doesn't really matter. I'm taking the Chargers plus 5.5. I just 75% of the spread on the Chargers, but 70% of the money line on the Chiefs. Like, there's just it's a weird no faith in the Chargers kinda thing. Like, how are you not how I'm surprised that money line is not yeah, I'm surprised that money line is not tighter. Like, it's kinda ridiculous, because I know the Chargers are super banged up and whatever, but the Chiefs just haven't looked remotely like anything in a long time at this point, and I gotta go with the Chargers. I know it's a big, high emotional win, but I just think they can hang around in a game
The
here.
whole like no Joe Alt thing doesn't scare you.
It does scare me, but what
like
scares me about the
realistically, like
Chiefs
they needed the Eagles to hand them like three extra possessions, and like the Eagles basically to like shoot themselves in the foot repeatedly to basically beat them, right? Would they do this? But the question is, don't the Chiefs kind of already do that themselves on a
right,
weekly
that's what I'm
basis?
saying, like, I think that the Chargers defense it's obviously no
This is
Texans
also a
defense.
revenge game from Brazil, if you recall.
I mean, I don't think they're thinking about Brazil right now. Those teams are very
Well,
far
I
away from
mean,
what they
well, the
were in
Chiefs might
Brazil.
for vacations if they,
Yeah,
miss it.
exactly. So I'm taking the Chargers. Where are you at with this?
Ugh. I went with the public on the last game. I kind of want to fade the public again. I'm going to take the Chiefs in this. I'm going to tell you my reasoning. The Eagles were hammering Justin Herbert. And if you notice in that game, every time they got in, when they were trying to sack Herbert, I know N'Kobe Dean had that god awful whiff on him. But when they were sacking him, it was like two or three guys grabbing him, and they were punching his surgically repaired hand repeatedly to force a fumble. I think Justin Herbert is in a lot of pain on the road in Arrowhead. It's going to be freezing cold there, probably. Let's see what the temperature is going to be like tomorrow. Kansas City temperature. It is going to be a low of let's see, Sunday low of 9 degrees, high of 25 in Kansas City.
All day. It
I'm gonna
screams a
take.
close game.
I mean, Michael,
The
17.
Chiefs' defense is bad, man. Like, that's my thought.
Chargers
It's not a
offense
good
is
unit.
kind of bad. They had to kick 6 field goals.
Yeah, against a great defense.
Yeah,
Is
but
Lad
like
McConkey gonna be in DeJean jail? No.
no, that's
Quinyon
kind
jail? No.
yeah, that's kind of a good point.
The Eagles dominated them, and they didn't even have Jalen Carter playing, and the Chiefs really
I
just
can
had Chris Jones.
honestly, I had this vibe that like we're gonna see Trey Lance tomorrow.
Oh, Jesus.
Like,
Well, I mean, if you're
like
predicting
Herbert
Herbert getting
basically
hurt, then I
like
guess the
everyone was
Chargers.
praising Herbert. Herbert having no regard for his body, just doing everything what it takes to
I mean, that
win.
was a must-win for them. If they lost, the playoffs would be looking very dire. So alright, so you're on Kansas City.
I'm taking Kansas City,
Alright,
when they
oh,
screw me over, I'm gonna never pick them the rest of the season.
to wrap up the 1 o'clocks, we have Giants, Commanders in New Jersey. Giants are 2.5 point favorites. John, I think they're gonna do it again. I think they're, unfortunately for themselves, going to do it again, in terms of having an opportunity to get the number 1 overall pick, gift wrapped to them on a silver platter, and I think they're gonna
Blow it.
just win. They're gonna win games they shouldn't be winning, and this is a perfect game to win that they have no
So you
business
think
winning.
it would be like for the Commanders with how dire their future looks, if there's a team that would just straight up tank to just dramatically improve,
I
basically
mean, their defense is atrocious. The
like
Commanders'
we need
defense
like
is
basically you're the Commanders, like
horrible.
we need one of these free I don't know, like
They need an edge
we
rusher.
need
They
to
need some.
guarantee one of these freak edge rushers like Parker or the kid from Ohio State. I'm forgetting his name. I don't know.
Yeah.
The freak outside linebacker who's like Von Miller Jr. Like NFL. It'd be hilarious if the Commanders tank and then they draft Jeremiah Love. That would be kind of low key hilarious.
Depending on where they end up picking,
I
Jeremiah
do.
Love could
I
be
don't
an
know,
interesting
man.
one.
Like, dude, like the Giants just like. I mean, they have basically two new play callers mid-season: new defensive play caller, new offensive play caller.
Well, Kafka's been calling the plays, I think, the whole time.
Do you think Kafka? Like, I mean, like, what do you? I mean, bro.
Listen, we can't get too hung up about the Giants Commanders, I'll be honest.
I mean, I'm taking Arvell Reese is who I'm thinking of.
Yeah, like we're thinking of the better quarterback in this game, and
I
it's
agree,
Jackson Dart.
Michael. Michael, I agree with you. I could see the Commanders literally just tanking the rest of the season. I'm going to go with the Giants. This feels like a Jackson Dart game. This feels like a wow, the Giants'
Sure.
future. The
I mean, it's
Giants'
the
future.
Commanders' defense is horrible, and you look
This is
at
going to look so good when Malik
if the
Neighbors comes back. And
and
yeah, I
like it
agree.
like probably will a little bit. Their offensive line, everything about the Giants is not as bad as I thought it was going to be, at least on offense. Like
When Scat's
Dart's,
ankle
yeah,
heals,
Dart's not as bad as I thought he was going to be. Scadaboo's obviously a lot better than I thought he was going to be. Their offensive line is not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Um, And like, yeah, when Neighbors gets back, they could be in a pretty scary situation. They might draft a receiver, and like all of a sudden now it's like that's a lethal looking offense. Whereas Washington goes, they need any defensive help they could get. I would be intrigued to see what Jaden Daniels looks like with an elite running back. So like maybe Jeremiah Love makes a little bit of sense because I mean Jaden Daniels, his scrambling numbers this year are way up from last year. Coming off a year where everyone was like, listen, Jaden Daniels was great, but he really needs to make sure he takes care of himself. He did take some tough hits. He did deal with an injury in the middle of the season, yada yada. He's really got to be safer. And then he goes out and is running like a chicken with his head cut off like an idiot, and he gets hurt every week now. So if that's what you're going to be, like I can't trust you really much at all. So I need at least a better running back to have a better running attack. So it's not as he doesn't feel obliged. But yeah, we're both going the Giants. This game is just ridiculous. So the Seattle Seahawks are at home to take on the Colts, led by Philip Rivers. 44-year-old Philip Rivers is a 13.5-point underdog.
Would you like to hear the depth chart for the Colts quarterback pecking order for
Sure.
Sunday? Philip Rivers will be starting. He will be backed up by an injured Riley Leonard. And then Riley Leonard will be
Yikes.
backed up by newly signed this week for the Colts as well, Brett Rippon.
Never good when you got to bring in Brett Rippon. That's rough, man. I mean, my like Philip Rivers, I think is going to make some throws that are like,
Did
he's
you
still got
watch
it.
any of their practice footage this week with Philip Rivers?
He had some zip on those throws,
What do you
man.
mean he had zip on those throws? Or what are you talking about? He didn't. So okay, here's the thing with Philip Rivers. Philip Rivers was never known for being able to throw like a wow, that's a Philip Rivers fastball. Like, oh wow. Like it was always like he was like the accuracy, great arm talent in terms of accuracy, very like Kurt Warner-ish. Like he just throws pillows to his receivers. And listen, man, he's going to be in the the Pro Football Hall of Fame, excuse me, right? He's 44 years old. This is like watching Justin Verlander like throw like 92, 93 because he's just old.
When
Except
I think about this, it's just, can he take a hit? Like, the Seahawks
no,
defense is pretty ferocious. Is he gonna get popped once and be like, "Oh, man, he's a 44-year-old man." Remember, like, when it got to the point another thing I heard, of Tony Romo's career, where every time he took a hit, it just felt like he couldn't get up because of his back or whatever, like, right, it was right in late 2015, 2016 when Dak obviously got drafted and took over. Romo would take a hit and he would just be laying there and it'd be like, "Oh my god." It looks like someone's watching their grandfather just get pushed over, and Romo wasn't even that old, like, it wasn't even, like, that ancient when this was all going down. Um,
or like golfing.
Philip Rivers has, like, 10 years on him, and what's it gonna look like when he gets drilled by a pass rusher or, a defensive tackle, like, something like that? It's not gonna be, I don't think it's gonna be too pretty. I'm gonna take Seattle. Maybe I shouldn't, I don't know, like, there's a weird
Philip
part of me
Rivers
that
has been
thinks
sacked in his career 465 times.
it's a lot, man. Why I feel like there's a part of me that believes that the Colts could cover this game somehow.
Why?
They're desperate, but they also know they're playing with a 44-year-old quarterback, so they're gonna be playing kinda freely. Taylor's it's gonna be a high dose of Jonathan Taylor,
You're
and
I know what you're thinking. You're thinking that what if Darnold just straight up turns into a pumpkin again?
listen, he hasn't been playing super great the last handful of weeks, like, he's prone to just kind of pedestrian his way through these at this point, and, well, they got
I mean,
win by
true
2
to the accurate
touchdowns,
so
man,
I mean, at one point, what the Seahawks were at 31st in passing attempts. They
and
have
they
been
still are
very
the bottom of the
they
league.
they have been very good. It's almost like they're masking Sam Darnold's. They're done a very good job at limiting his, uh, accentuate the positives, hide the weaknesses. It's very hard to do that for 17 weeks in the NFL with a quarterback.
And they don't even run the ball, like, exceptionally well either, but their defense, if there's a defense that's hotter than the
Sauce is
Texans
out,
de
right? Is Sauce going to be playing in this game?
no, he's cooked.
Sauce
If
is
there's a
cooked.
if there's
Yeah.
a defense that's
So why
maybe
can't
as
they have
hot as
said
Seattle,
why
or
can't
as
they?
hot as Houston, it's Seattle. So, I'm taking Seattle.
I am also taking Seattle as well. I do think though. Think about this with the totals. Seattle's laying 13 and a half points. The over under is 42. This just screams blowout to me.
Yeah, I mean, they're looking at this like a, 31-7. Um, Next game we have is Packers Broncos. Very good game of the 4 o'clock.
Say,
Um,
can I share
Packers
some?
are two and a
Oh,
half point favorites on the road here.
so some fun John lore. The first Super Bowl I ever recall watching was with our cousin. Uh, it was Packers. It was Broncos Packers,
Mhm. Mhm.
And in that quarterback matchup, it was Brett Favre versus John Elway. In this matchup, we got one good quarterback at least.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, the Broncos are 5-8 against the spread. Obviously,
Wow.
they're not favored, but the Packers are playing well, man, coming off a huge win.
When's the last time a team that's on a double-digit win streak is an underdog? When's the last time that's happened? And what
It's
happened?
like
And what happened? What was the result of that?
I couldn't tell you. I mean, I'm pick I'm picking the Packers, man. They're gonna like this is the Broncos have been flirting with defeat for literally over a month, since November, since the calendar turned to you know what? I can't even say that. They've been flirting with defeat since October. This entire season, they've been flirting with losses since the Eagle game. 21-17 versus the Eagles, 13-11 versus the Jets, 33-32 against the Giants. They finally get a normal win beating up on the Cowboys. 18-15 against the Texans, 10-7 against the Raiders, 22-19 against the Chiefs, 27-26 in overtime against the Commanders, 24-17 against the Raiders. I mean, what do we you know what I mean? Like, they're begging to lose a game, and they've played a bunch of shitty teams, you know? And they finally are gonna face a team that's pretty complete in the Packers, and I think the Packers are gonna beat them. I think Micah Parsons is gonna get under Bo Nix's skin. I think that Sean Payton's gonna be overly worried of Nix and is gonna be doing a lot of quick, short stuff, and it's gonna come down to if the Packers can make open field tackles. Um, and it's a really nice test for the Packers offense in a cold game against a good defense because, you know, they're gonna be playing at home in the playoffs when it's cold. If they gotta play us, it's a good defense when it's cold, whether it's here or there. You know, they're they're gonna have to show that they can beat a good defense when the weather kinda blows, and it'll be interesting to see
This is
how
going to be a
how they
big
fare.
test for the Broncos secondary because I do feel like their weakness on defense is anybody not named Patrick Sertan. Like I think
I mean, Riley
Tua,
Moss is the most targeted corner in the NFL.
yeah. And the thing with the Packers is, listen, they're going to find ways. Like Sertan locks down one side of the field, so listen, they're going to just probably have Christian Watson just run deep patterns and just go after Riley Moss. The thing
I
though
think
with
they're gonna try to have Surtain follow Moss.
dude, the thing though
Or
with
sorry, not
Jordan.
Moss, Surtain follow Watson.
Oh, okay. And
I think
then
that's what you're gonna have to do, and it's up to
right,
LaFleur to get him inside, get him in some favorable matchups, and then you're but listen, I mean, Jaden Reed is back, Dontavian Wicks has been playing well, Dalvin has been playing fine, like, you can you're at your disposal here with your weapons in passing game, so I'm
this
taking Green
feels.
Bay.
I mean, this does feel like the Packer. Like, you know what Sean Payne's going to want to do? It's like, oh, Jordan Love's in a position where like he's compromised. Just kill him, basically. You saw that with Stroud. That's their plan. I would think on defense, even like a Josh Jacobs, who they're obviously the Broncos are very familiar with Josh Jacobs because for his long time he's spending with the Raiders. It is kind of crazy. The Broncos are on this double-digit win streak and they're underdogs at
At
home.
home,
At home.
and they're not, like, injured.
I'm taking. This would be like you can go all in on Jordan Love if he wins because it's a road game, right? Jordan Love in the playoffs. Has he ever had a home playoff game before? I think he's always been on the road.
No way, right?
And if the Bears win that division, Michael, then guess what? He's got to play on the road again. So he's got to prove he can win these big road games. Like
Last year was a road playoff game, 2023, 2 road playoff games. Dallas, San Francisco. Yeah, he's only played 3 playoff games. He's 1 and
This is
2.
this is like a playoff game, kinda. This has a playoff
I
game
mean,
type
was
feel
last
to it.
week not a playoff game for them?
I mean, it's a division game, yeah, but this is like
It's a division game against a good division opponent. It's not like, oh, they played the
number 2 seed
fucking
in the
2 and 5
AFC.
Bear. Number 1 seed in the NFC. What are we talking about?
Alright, whatever.
That's what I'm saying. Like the Bears, that game was a playoff game last week. Division game, against the top seed. It's just because you ultimately don't respect the Bears. And like not necessarily wrong to say that. I don't think they're a true contender, but I think that's what it comes. You don't look at the Bears and think this is a solidified playoff team. And you'd be kind of right. Their defense really isn't there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Green Bay. Yeah.
Next game we have Panthers Saints. If the Panthers screw this up, right? I mean, it's like they're being no, don't. They're being gifted, man. Their Christmas has come early. The Buccaneers have lost 2 in a row to the garbage of the NFC South. Like it is they're here. Here's the division. Go take it. Just take it out of my hands. Just take the division, take the NFC South, take your home playoff game. Here, have it. Are they going to do it, John? Are they going to win a road game in New Orleans against the Saints, against Tyler Shuck? They're only 2.5-point favorites. Where are you at with this? I think I'm just gonna do it out of my Buccaneer hate. I'm taking the Panthers minus 2.5.
I'm taking the Panthers as well. I'm gonna give you my logic behind it is that Saints, huge win last week. Like huge win.
They're streaking.
Tyler Shuck looked semi-competent. Listen, bro. I got the same vibes of Tyler Shuck as like I did with rookie Bo Nix. Or sorry, rookie no, sorry. Sorry. I meant rookie Will Levis. My bad.
That's
Will
even worse.
Yes, because he's not good. He
Ah,
stinks.
you're not high on Shuck, man. I'm
No,
I'm
I'm
a bit
not.
of a Shuck
You're
believer.
like texting me like, oh my god, Tyler Shuck might not be terrible. I'm like,
He might not be terrible.
I mean, he probably is. Like, I'm just
I don't know, man.
I don't know. Like,
He could be
remember
a little purdy-ish.
we thought Rattler might have been like
He
something.
could be a little purdy-ish. Shuck.
I think the reason why Vegas said it like this, it's like like they have no faith in Carolina, and they're
No,
like
I mean they despise Carolina, and
you
like
know what this
for good
feels like.
reason.
You know what this feels like. Vegas always puts out one game a week where the semi-sharp betters are like, this is a trap. So I'm gonna either money line. I'm gonna take the Saints because oh look, they're trying to trick me, and then the Panthers are gonna annihilate New Orleans because it's like with the Falcons and the Seahawks. I fell for that because that looked fishy as hell. And what wound up happening, Michael? The Seahawks like curb stomped the Falcons. Act like the first quarter it was close, and then
It was the first half. It was the first half. It was
they
close,
just
and then
stomped them the second half. So with that being said, I'm taking this. I'm taking the Panthers.
yeah,
I
yeah.
have
All right,
been very high on very bullish on the Panthers all season. I'm not changing that right
another
before.
big game here. Lions, Rams, six
Oh
point
God.
spread.
Oh,
Rams are six
dude.
point favorites. That's a lot, man. Is that not a lot? I know the
Well,
Rams are better, but I mean this game's indoors. We need to remember this game is not outside. This game is not in
it's
the
so fun.
cold. Yeah, it's in SoFi. It's in, I feel like all these Rams Lions rematches have all been out in Detroit. So
This
finally we get one
feels
in
like
SoFi.
a very good test for that Rams run defense because if you recall, the reason why they got an early vacation was because their run defense was atrocious. Now they're playing against a team. Listen, their running game isn't as good as it was last year.
The offensive line is not good.
Michael, the Lions are still really good with running the ball. So, like Jahmyr Gibbs is still
Dude, I'm taking Detroit plus 6.
dangerous.
I'm riding with the public here and taking them spread because I keep trying to slice this game into a Rams blowout, and listen, maybe it is. Maybe the Rams win by, like,
Well,
10, and
Michael,
it's,
you and I
you
both know the
know.
Rams in the regular season. Like McVay is always like health, prioritizes health. So we're going to see a split backfield between Blake Corum and Kyron Williams, like we've seen the last couple weeks.
Yeah, but does he not feel the importance of this game, the magnitude of winning this game? It's very like, have they beaten since the quarterback swap? Um, Now my computer doesn't wanna load. Of course. Okay. Since the quarterback swap, that can't be they've only played twice? Are you kidding me? In the regular season? That feels like a farce, does it not? The Rams won 28-19 back in 2021 in SoFi, and then the Lions won 26-20 in overtime last season, and then they met in the playoffs once that the Lions won. Um, yeah, it's a tough one, man. It's an important game. I think both teams obviously, it's very important for the Lions. The Lions are in desperation mode. If they get a win here, that would be humongous for their playoff probabilities. Um, so I am gonna take Detroit in that, like, they're super desperate, and I think some 4th down regression is gonna kind of break back their way a little bit, positive regression that is, because they're like a ridiculous cold streak on their 4th downs, and I just think that's gonna start to tear back a little bit. So give me the Lions +6. I do think the Rams can still win this game, but it does feel like a close game to me.
I think the thing though is with the Lions, and this you have to kind of I don't know your thoughts on this. Every time the Lions have played a good team this year, they've struggled. So I think this the and you know what you're gonna say. Well, what about the Cowboys win? The Cowboys are not a good football team.
I mean, it was still like the game wasn't a cakewalk for them, I'll say.
Well,
They did blow out the Bears, and that's part of your feeling on the Bears. Um, they won that close game against Baltimore.
and
They
you just
lost to
and
the
you literally just and
Chiefs.
you just declared Baltimore RIP on the season. So not a
Yeah,
good team.
they lost to the Chiefs, which at the time they were better. They beat the Buccaneers, which, well,
Yeah. Well, you're proving my point.
they lost in 9. That's, like, probably that's their worst loss of the season. Like,
I
that is such a
agree.
bad, bad loss for them. They beat up a bad Commanders team. They lost to the Eagles. They beat the Giants in overtime. Lost to the Packers. Yeah, I mean, listen, man, their season's been totally up and down, up and down, up and down. I mean, it would make sense for them to lose this week, and they don't lose 2 in a row, so then they beat the Steelers, and then, they play 2 division road games to end the season. So,
The
it'll
thing,
be
and plus the Rams have gotten their like, wow, how do we lose that game loss out of the way with the Panthers?
Yeah, no, the Rams, well, I mean, I wouldn't, if the Rams lost this, I wouldn't be like, "What a disaster." Like, the Lions still
I
have
think true
juice, you know?
chaos would be if the Rams and the Packers both lose this week.
Yeah, and the Bears win, and it would, like, really open up the can of worms of, like, "Oh my god, the Bears might actually get the 1 seed."
I don't really think about that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no one to blame but
I'm going with the
ourselves,
Rams
Sean.
laying. I'm going to go with the Rams laying the 6. This feels like a 10-point win to me.
Like, 10 feels like it could be
Like
right. Like, the Rams kick a field goal
like
to put it to 2
like
possessions.
31-20. Rams kick the field
Yeah,
goal.
it's like 28-21, 28-20, and they kick the field goal to go up 10, and, like,
Goff
Goff,
interception.
yeah, 4th down, whatever. Um, I hear you. Titans and Niners. Niners, you can't talk about 1 seed little inquiries without mentioning the Niners, who are 9-4 and right up there playing I mean, total, complete, utter chaos is Seattle winning to go to, well, if Seattle wins, which they probably will, then they'll be in the driver's seat for the 1 seed. They'll be 11-3. So Seattle winning, go to 11-3, maybe Green Bay losing and going to 9-4-1. Detroit winning to go to 9-5, the Rams losing to go to 10-4, the Bears winning to go to 10-4, and then the Niners winning to be at 10-4. I mean, the NFC is just such a cluster, and it's unbelievable. So yeah, I do think the Niners are going to beat the Titans. I think the Titans got their last hurrah in on the season with a win against the Browns, and I think now it's the time for them to lock back in and keep pushing for that 1 seed, or for the 1 seed, first overall pick, that is. And the Niners got to take advantage of their easy ones because they're in third place despite being 9-4, as brutal as that sounds. So they could keep banking home some wins, and like you said, if they get a couple losses fall their way this week, they could be looking at, a serious division opportunity. So yeah.
Yeah, I like. Aren't these the? I mean, listen. I know the Titans won last week. I said the Titans were gonna win like at least 2 games.
They got 2.
I think they've. I would not be. It would be. I think they might beat the Jags the last week of the season as like the.
Mhm.
We're all going to be all in on the Jags, and then they lose, and we're like, "Ah, typical Jaguars losing to the worst team in the league." Yeah, the Niners just feels like a Kyle Shanahan is like coaching masterclass. Everyone's going to talk about like the disparity between the Titans and how stupid they look on coaching wise, and then you pull like on especially on offense, and then you look at like, oh my god, look at this insane crosser that they just ran on
Mhm.
to Jawan Jennings, like stuff like that, dude. Give me the Niners.
Which takes us to Sunday night, which what a disappointment.
Look at dude, what the hell is this?
What was the league doing? The league has had so much time to correct this um with a like flexing. I mean, let's go through. Lions Rams, that'd be a great Sunday night game. Packers Broncos, that'd be a good Sunday night game. Um even in flexing times, you could have flexed the Colts Seahawks in here, and that would have been pretty entertaining because you would have had 45-year-old Philip Rivers on
That's the
on Sunday
wrong
Night
version of
Football.
entertaining. It's supposed to be like good entertainment,
I'm
not
just
bad.
saying, like, but when the flex deadline came into play, like that could have been it. Chargers Chiefs could have been flexed in there. Hell, even Ravens Bengals, that slop game could have been in there and
Well,
been a better Sunday
obviously,
night
well,
game.
since I guess because Packers Broncos is the AFC game of the week, you couldn't have. Well, Packers
My point is
Broncos
that
could
is
have
that
been like,
if you're flexing it, you got to pick. You're bidding anyways. Bills Patriots is another one. Um, you know, there were a lot of options to put here, and instead we have the Cowboys taking on 9. They're 5.5-point favorites. I'm taking Dallas. Nine's not having 2 good games in a row, man. I mean, that's just not possible. I
yeah,
mean,
I'll say this. Yeah, I'm gonna take the Cowboys as well. This does feel like
classic
the.
home primetime Cowboy
As I said
game,
before, Michael, the Cowboys are a much better home team than a road team. So,
and
and
it's
look,
it's a
listen, the
classic spot
Vikings
for
are
them.
coming off a nice win. Nine didn't poop himself, I guess. So yeah, give me the. I'm taking Dallas. Yeah, and then we got the
Are
last
the
one to wrap up the show.
say worrisome? Cowboys win and the Eagles lose
If the Eagles lose to the Raiders, they don't deserve to make
to
the
make the
playoffs.
playoffs. No, they don't. God forbid. Anyways, Monday Night Football, Steelers, Dolphins in Pittsburgh. We just talked about how the Dolphins aren't the same old Dolphins as they were early in the season. They have won games. They have
Well,
just
they blew
looked
the Jets out
really
last
better.
week.
They blew the Jets out last week in a nasty cold weather, proving me wrong a little bit. I don't think they're gonna do it twice in a row, man. That weather in Pittsburgh's been gnarly. I don't think Tua's got it in him, I'll be honest. I'm gonna take the
I agree. I do
Steelers.
feel like we are. First off, the Dolphins' defense has been playing very well, very
Yeah,
underrated,
absolutely,
very
absolutely.
underrated. And realistically, like, should the Steelers have won last week? No, absolutely not. No,
Mhm, mhm.
which is still Mike Tomlin football. The only thing that concerns me if I'm a Steeler fan, is going to be. I mean, is Achane going to play? Because remember, he got hurt in that Jet game, so
Yes, he is gonna play because
he's
he
playing,
said
but
he could have gone back into he said that he easily could have gone back into that game.
but T.J. Watt had a collapsed lung.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume he is not playing tomorrow or Monday, right?
Um, yeah, I don't think so, man. TJ Watt, I mean, he went surgery. Uh, yeah, it doesn't seem good.
I'm going to take the Dolphins, and this is kind of my logic. Is obviously they made this big trade. You would think that Jalen Ramsey. I don't. You know what? Like,
I think you're buying yourself in too
I don't.
much.
This is a coin flip to me. This is legitimately a coin flip. I'm going to take Pittsburgh. They're going to win it for T.J. Watt. This is for T.J. and
I'm
for
saying, yeah.
for my futures. I need the Steelers to win this division. So, with that being said, yes, this would go very much a long way to helping the Steelers win the North.
Yeah. Well,
What's the spread? 3 points.
3.
Yeah. You know what? That's going to be a push, by the way. So
Yeah.
we're going to tie on this game anyway, Michael. So why not? Whatever. Anyway.
All right, that is our show, everybody. Enjoy. Not much today. There's not much going on in the sports world today. I think the NBA Cup uh, semifinals are today or something. I don't know. But next week we're gonna have some college football playoff. That'll be fun. And then we got NFL games on Saturday. That's also fun. And then obviously a big slate Sunday. So with that being said, everybody, that is our show, and we'll talk to you later in the week.
All right. That's our show, everybody. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day.
We are part of the Fired Up Sports Network of shows. Please check out other Fired Up Sports Network podcasts like the P-Lot Pod, Water Cooler Talk, Bell Smashers, Philly Sports Love and Pain, Drunk on Broad, Beer Battered Sports, and the Fired Up Sports Show, which are available on all major podcasting hosting sites and social media. Also, check out Mark Ramos' Roundup on firedupsports.com, which breaks down the happenings going on with all your favorite local teams.